All right, what is going on, my dudes? We got this guy today. This one over here, the one on the left, the crazy guy. We got Scott Lang, Ant-Man buff details. So we got some exciting things to go through in this video. We have some less than exciting things to talk about with this guy in this video, but we're gonna jump in nonetheless, man. So Ant-Man, about Ant-Man. When the original Ant-Man retired from the job, another man rose to the occasion, stole the costume, Scott Lang. With his somewhat sordid past somewhat behind him, Scott took on the size-changing and communicating abilities of Ant-Man. Alright, so when it comes to prestige, it's like bad. I mean, that should kind of been expected at this point. I think he was like the lowest prestige like in the game, or was it like OG Iron Man? So he's not the lowest anymore, but he's like, don't rank this guy for prestige. If you really like him, put the SIGs in, but he's not a prestige champ. So, Ant-Man's mechanics. Scotty is back from his nighttime errands with some hot new tech. Stealing a page out of the other anthropods of the contest, Ant-Man's kit now focuses on the build of pin particles to inflict a prickly power sting on the opponent. Gathering these will require you to shrink down to size, often throwing special ones until your desired stack of pin particles is achieved. As an added bonus, Ant-Man's puny punches will inflict debilitating fatigues. When ready, hit the power-hungry opponent with a heavy attack to convert the resource into power stings. Keep their timers up by performing intercepts or punishing heavy attacks long enough to build 2 bars of power. Then suck them with a special 2, converting the fatigues into, not even going to try to say that word, poison debuffs. Continue refreshing until the toxic buildup or a hasty special attack brings your opponent down to your level. So, lots of cool stuff in there, man. Let's start just going past the strengths and the weaknesses, talking right into some really awesome new utility for this guy. So he has 3 immunities, which is great. 3 new immunities: immune to poison and immune to shock. Always very good to have. At this point in the game, lots of poison immune champs, lots of shock immune champs even. Like, there was like a period of time where like a lot of new shock immune champions were coming out, and it was definitely like exciting. But at this point, there's a bunch of them. You probably have a few ranked up. But this Ant-Man cannot gain buffs. This is always lovely. This is always great. If you play Alliance War, you'll know that, what's it called? #Defiance made like 10 champions so much better for so many different things because they can't gain buffs. So it makes them like really good for Buffet, for Power Snack, for Spite, for Mystic champions like what's his face, Man-Thing, right, who puts buffs on you, Mojo, just all those Mystic champions who punish you for having buffs, kind of like, you know, how Spider-Man 29 just shuts those matchups off. That's because he doesn't have buffs. It's really, really great. Red Guardian as well, although Red Guardian, you know, needs to be like super duper high sig in order to like really be beneficial for it. But yeah, point is, man, no buffs, really good time. So whenever he instead generates 1 pin particle. Now, whenever Ant-Man's basic attacks intercept the opponent or strike them when recovering from a heavy, he consumes 1 pin particle to refresh any personal fatigue, poison, and power sting debuffs. That's refresh, not pause. Keep that in mind. That's very good. So, dev notes. These are key to your damage. Get a nice stack of them ready, convert some into power stings and or poisons, and then use the rest to keep the debuffs active with intercepts and punishing opponent heavy attacks. So this is great how it's intercept and heavy attack, because basically if you're like really good at intercepting, yeah, keep the fight going, boom, boom, boom. But let's say you're not good at intercepting, right? You can like hold your heavy attack, you can bait out a heavy attack on the defender, and then you can counter. You're going to take some block damage, so it's like you're probably better off playing a different champion at that point. But if you really are good at intercepts, this could be a champion that you might like. All right, so power stings. If Ant-Man has 3 or more pin particles, landing a heavy attack or being knocked down by a special attack, defense, consumes 3 pin particles to inflict 1 power sting debuff on the opponent, lasting 9 seconds. Now, that second part is definitely a defensive ability. However, at the same time, that's 9 seconds of willpower healing for you whenever you're fighting Ant-Man. It's like, okay. You know, with Juggernaut, he got so much easier to fight, so much worse on defense. I feel like Ant-Man's always been like really annoying with his glancing. Now it's like not the same kind of glancing anymore, and he's going to be healing you. Right? So, yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Whenever Ant-Man's personal power stings detonate, they also deal a burst of 355 physical damage for each debuff. That's not unique debuff, any debuff on the opponent, including that power sting. That's good. So, dev notes. Make sure your opponent has a healthy dose of debuffs on them before triggering power sting for maximum pain. Special attacks. Whenever Ant-Man activates a special attack, look at this. The opponent is inflicted with a non-stacking debuff lasting 15 seconds. So, dude, if you're fighting Ant-Man. He uses a special attack, and he's putting willpower healing on you for 15 seconds. Okay, giving their attacks a 100% chance to glance. Now that's annoying. Glancing sucks, right? But it used to be like he glances everything. Now it's like only when this debuff is on you, which is nice. And also it is a debuff. So like, let's say you are a big like a Kingpin fan, Mole Man, another champion who like, you know, shrugs debuffs and whatnot. Gonna be a really good counter to the Ant-Man, and just completely ignore the glancing now, which is nice. So yeah, basically this guy used to be like kind of annoying to fight, just made fights longer. Not really anymore. Now he's going to heal you all the time, and you can also get around his glancing entirely, which is definitely welcome because it's always been annoying. He's never been hard, it's just been annoying. So Unsteady cannot be activated if the opponent already is under the effect of the Unsteady debuff. When Unsteady expires, this ability goes on a 15-second cooldown before it can be activated again. So on offense, let's say you want to like make them glance on offense, right? You can use it, you got your 15 seconds of it, and then there's a 15-second cooldown. Okay, that kind of reminds me of like Falcon in a way, except the cooldown isn't that long on Falcon. So, dev notes, Unsteady is one of Ant-Man's greatest strengths, but watch out, its cooldown exposes Ant-Man's squishy nature. Exactly, worst defender. So, all attacks. While under the effect of personal Unsteady debuffs, Ant-Man cannot miss his opponent. That's why I said he's kind of like Falcon, or like Sam Wilson, right? He can't miss, Falcon can't. They can't evade him. So yeah, same thing, like the cooldown is a bit long in my opinion. I feel like this should really be like 7 seconds or even 8 seconds, something like that. But still, I feel like, you know, I feel like it's more of a defensive ability anyway. All right, let's move on to special attacks. Special 1, Pim Punch. On activation, gain 3 Pim Particles. If Ant-Man has 9 Pim Particles, this special attack is unblockable. Nice. Now, I said we have some less exciting stuff to talk about. That's right here. That's why it's orange and a little bit pink. Each hit inflicts a fatigue debuff, lowering the opponent's crit rating by 110 for 15 seconds, max stacks of 12. So that really fun, like Sam Wilson synergy, that's like a little impractical for like real content, but it's like fun to bring into like Labyrinth of Legends or like Realm of Legends or even like Abyss, right? You can't really do like a full path with it, but you can like do a few fights with it. You know, it's not really practical for like actually completing a path. It's like more of like a YouTube video synergy kind of thing, right? But yeah, you used to be able to stack like unlimited fatigue debuffs because it would like pause it and there wouldn't be a cap. But that was a cap of 12. You know, it's getting a lot of extra utility, so I guess the potential to have like 99 poisons to convert with the special 2 is no longer there. And I think the reason why is because you can now refresh them. Whenever Ant-Man's basic attacks intercept the opponent, or recovering from a heavy attack, he consumes 1 Pim Particle to refresh any personal poison on the opponent. So now, instead of stacking a bunch of them over and over and over, you stack up 12, you go for the special 2, you convert them into poisons, and then you keep them up for the entire fight. They're going to be hitting pretty hard, right? There's going to be a lot of damage over time there. Every single second, every single half second, it's going to be taking really highly. And as long as you keep the intercepts up, or you keep countering the heavy attacks, you're going to keep those things refreshed. So yeah, I guess they didn't want you refreshing 99 poisons the entire time, because then it would like actually, I guess, be kind of broken for like Alliance War and stuff like that. Even still, I don't really know if it would, but regardless. Special 2. Each Pim Particle grants Ant-Man plus 592 attack rating for the duration of this attack. Consume all Pim Particles at the end of the special attack. So that, you get 9 of those, right? So this is based on a rank 5 5-star, I believe. So like a 6-star rank 3, or even possibly rank 4, is going to be doing a lot more attack rating per each Pim Particle. You could have up to 9 of those. Let's just round it to 10, and let's round it to plus 6,000 attack rating. I guess we could go down a little bit, 5,400 attack rating for the duration of this attack, which is definitely a decent attack chunk, right? And then on the second hit, consume all fatigue debuffs on the opponent. For each fatigue consumed, the opponent is inflicted with a poison debuff. This is pretty much the same, max stacks of 12. Also, I do believe the time duration of it is actually shorter, so it's going to be ticking higher every half second, which is actually pretty good, especially when you're refreshing them over and over. So, dev note, stacking fatigues with a special 1 and keeping them up with the intercepts will grant you a rewarding special 2, inflicting up to 12 spicy poison debuffs. Don't forget to keep them refreshed. Special 3, Pim Punch. Now this, in my opinion, is kind of useless. Inflict a Petrify debuff, reducing the potency of power gain regen effects by 10% for 20 seconds. Potency of this debuff increases by 10% for each debuff added on the opponent. So, if you get your special 2 poisons up, right, you can get the heavy attack power stings. You can have an additional like 13 debuffs like pretty much all the time. So that can go up to like 140%. But the thing is, it's on the special 3. So unless it's like a very specific matchup, like some sort of Eternity of Pain thing, where like every I don't know, 90 seconds, they gain some sort of like big jump of power, then like, yeah, you can be ready for it and you can like ramp up and then you can like get to the special 3 and get the Petrify. But in like most ordinary scenarios, like when you need Petrify, you can't be getting up to a special 3. You know, like people are like, oh, Void feels unreliable because you have to get to a special 1 with RNG. Now it's like you have to get to a special 3 for the Petrify. So, you know, if you could like refresh it with the Intercept, I could see it. That would be really strong. But yeah, so, you know, like I said, very specific. I'm sure this will come in handy in the future. Like maybe if you're doing like the backup recovery node in Alliance War, right? Power snack backup recovery. So yeah, maybe you time it out, you get to the special 3. When they get to the 50%, have your debuffs up, have your fatigues up, not poisons, go for the special 3, reverse the healing, reverse their power. At that point though, it's like just use Spidey 2099, just use Quicksilver. So it's like, yeah, like I said, I'd say stay away from the special 3, but yeah. Sig ability. So the blue one is defensive. Whenever Ant-Man glances an attack, he has a 50% chance to inflict a fatigue debuff, lowering the opponent's crit rating by 2139.54. More stuff that's going to be healing you on defense. Great. So, whenever Ant-Man gains a pin particle, he pauses the duration of any personal fatigue, poison, or power sting debuffs on the opponent for 4 seconds. This is very akin to like Spidey 2099. You dex, right? You gain the pin particle, you pause your debuffs at 6200 for 4 seconds. So, that's really nice. I obviously really enjoyed that playstyle quite a bit, so I definitely like that. And I don't know what it is at like Sig 1 minus Sig 20. Hopefully, like, it's like 2 seconds at Sig 20. I guess we'll have to see what Aunt May says when it comes out. Dev notes, keeping your debuffs up becomes far easier with Ant-Man's Sig ability. On defense, glancing hits will lead to a slogging fight for attackers as the fatigues build up. Right, but you're going to be healing like so much. Alright, so new synergy with Falcon. Each hit of the special 1 has a 100% chance to inflict the opponent with a fragility debuff, reducing block proficiency by 50% and increasing Ant-Man's critical damage rating by 235. Now, I don't believe these could be paused or refreshed. Unfortunately, I wish that they could. That would definitely be nice, but this will definitely help increase his critical damage rating by quite a bit. He seems more of like a damage over time poison champion though. This is the only like new synergy. But if we look at Aunt May, he has a lot of synergies here. Over here with Psycho Man, who's not the best, who's definitely not very good. Special 1 inflicts the opponent with 2 stagger debuffs. That could be potentially good, maybe. This one with Ghost, I don't know if this is changing. It doesn't say it in the doc. I would think that it is changing because there's going to be debuffs like all over the place, plus 15% attack for each debuff on the opponent. We'll have to see. Over here with Ronin, again, I don't know if this is changing. 20% chance to inflict a fatigue debuff on the opponent when struck, and increase the potency of poisons by 35%. That's definitely going to be really nice if that stays. This one, I know that the first half is changing, but I know that the last hit on the special pauses all fatigue by 20 seconds. I do know that that is removed. So each hit of the special 1 has a 100% chance to place a fatigue debuff on the opponent. That could potentially help with his ramp up and whatnot. But yeah, man, that's Ant-Man. So definitely a little unfortunate that the Sam Wilson fun, you know, building up in like Labyrinth and whatnot is going to be going away. You can't really build up to like 99 fatigues and then like turn them all into poisons and keep them refreshed the entire time. That would have been fun. But he's getting a lot of extra utility. I can see him being useful for like medium length fights, kind of like Winter Soldier length fights, possibly Battlegrounds. I'm really not sure about Battlegrounds because it really seems like you want to go for like at least 1 special 1 before the special 2. So that's 3 bars of power you want to build up in Battlegrounds, which could be good depending on the meta. If it's Power Snack, if it's Buffet, you're going to be completely turning that off. So the buff immunity is great. If it's like EMP modification, like, yeah, that's great. You're also immune to shock, right? You're immune to poison. So he's going to be able to take a lot of matchups as well. We're going to have to see when Battlegrounds comes back in September, right? It'll be live. This is September. So yeah, we'll have to see how he does. I think it's going to be pretty decent. When it comes to like being a defender in Battlegrounds now though, I feel like he's going to be so bad on defense because he's going to be healing you the entire time. So he's not really going to be a dual threat champion, I don't think, but I do think he's going to be like okay on offense. I think he's definitely going to be good in Alliance War, Power Snack, EMP modification, all of those mini bosses, right? Mystic champions who punish buffs and whatnot, EMP modification, stuff like that. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be useful for War. I think that there's going to be better science champions to use for War. I don't think he's going to be breaking the meta anytime soon, especially with Quicksilver just coming out. Spidey is still running rampant in Alliance War, right? Torch is currently blacklisted, right? Next season he's going to be whitelisted, so you're going to be able to use Torch. So I don't think that we're going to be seeing a lot of Ant-Man gameplay out there, a lot of Ant-Man use, but I do think he's going to be a lot better on his own, which is definitely good. We'll have to see how good he is, but yeah, that's it, man, for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big ol' like. Let me know what you think about Ant-Man getting buffed in the comment section below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future Ant-Man content coming to you in the future. Let's see this again. Be seeing you around.